What's up, you guys? It is Jerica and welcome back to my channel. This is a long awaited video, okay? I made my pregnancy announcement video like May of 2021 and it is March of 2023. So this video, like I said, is so long overdue. And the reason why I say that is because since I made that video, I've gotten so many questions about how I was able to conceive naturally after so long, so many years of infertility, and the whole process of how all that went down. So if you want to know all about that, then keep watching.
Just text, I know it's a toss up, but I hate the fact that we lost touch. Ayy, the Uber pulling up on call. Tell me, is you trying to fall through? I'ma leave it up to you.
So first, let me just, for anybody that's watching this video that's come from that video, I'm sorry for how long it took. Because I know there was people in the comments that I answered their questions, but then there's other people who just wanted more detail. And I've had people inbox me on Facebook. I've had people inbox me on Instagram. So I just wanted to talk about my experience because honestly, I just have to give the glory to God himself, because I really believe that he is the one that allowed this to happen and directed me to the right people and all of those things and all of those sorts. So first of all, for those who need a little bit of background, we started trying to have a baby, or we stopped buying contraceptives, I should say, in 2012. And 2012. And month after month after month after month after month, negative pregnancy tests. Okay. And I wasn't buying them constantly. Like, I got to a point where I stopped buying them because I'm like, I'll just wait. Next time I buy one, I'm just going to wait till like I'm having symptoms to where I'm like, okay, something's going on. So I eventually stopped disappointing myself and buying tests only for them to be negative until like, I told myself I wasn't going to buy anymore unless I missed my period or I was having weird symptoms. So I just didn't buy anymore. So for those who don't know, I do struggle with endometriosis. I deal, let me reword that, because I'm really trying to be careful the words that I use, because the words that you speak are powerful. I'm going to say I have been experiencing endometriosis. It started when I was 14 years old. I started my period when I was 11 years old. But the painful symptoms started, I guess, when I was around 14, 15. That's when my periods became painful every month and was accompanied with vomiting and a runny nose, which is weird. Just a lot of pain. And that's when things started for me. And it has been that way ever since. The vomiting stopped, thank God. But the pain every month, consecutively every month. And a few weeks before I come on my period, I always knew it was coming because the pain, not a few weeks, but like a week before, I start getting that throbbing pain in my cervix, in my uterus. Hard to describe. If you have endo, you know. So that's how I always knew it was coming. So but that started when I was around 14, and I'm 32 now, and I still deal with this pain. But anyway, so I ended up getting referred to an endometriosis specialist, not referred, but I had a friend who was also dealing with endometriosis who told me that I needed to go to a specialist, because we had been to fertility doctors. We had been to two, I think it was two, and they looked at my ovaries, looked at my uterus and all that kind of stuff, and they were saying that they didn't see any cause for infertility. We never did get to do a sperm count though, so that was one thing. We never did get a chance to do that, but I had people checking me out, because obviously I know most couples, the first thing they do is they check the sperm count, because that's the easiest thing to do. But for some reason, I just in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I really feel like it's me. And the fact that, like I said, my periods were so painful, I just knew something was going on. I just didn't know what it was. So I went to an endometriosis specialist February of 2019. And obviously the only way to be diagnosed with endo is to have this surgery. So I visited him for the first time in February of 2019. Immediately after talking to him and him going into detail and him giving me an exam with his fingers, He immediately scheduled me for the surgery in July because it was so far out, because I guess there were so many surgeries scheduled. So he went ahead and scheduled the surgery for me. It was July 9th of 2019. So after doing the exam and all that, it sounded like I had endo. Okay. Like all they can do is just go off of what you say and say, well, it sounds like you have endo, so you might want to get the surgery. And so I went ahead and got the surgery, and the surgery was terrible. I'm not going to go into detail about it because I already did a video on that, and I will link that above if you want to watch that, if you're thinking of getting the laparoscopic surgery. But anyway, the surgery was terrible. The recovery, terrible. And the surgery only helped my endo pain for about 2 months. The pain came right back. So I only had like 2 months of relief, and it came right back. It was like it never left. Okay. It just came right back. So for a long time, I was feeling like this was a waste of money because I was still having the pains. And, but everybody was so sure. They was like, well, you'll be able to get pregnant right away after this surgery. No worries. Because obviously women were going there to get the surgery, obviously because they didn't want painful periods. But most of the main reason was to conceive, because endo can stop you from conceiving. So once I found out that I did have it and that I had a severe case of it, I realized that, okay, well, maybe this is the reason why I haven't been able to conceive. So had the surgery, a year went by. So the surgery was July 9th, 2019. Still month after month, no pregnancy. So, and it just out of nowhere, November of 2020, my period was like 4 days late. Now, me having endo, I'm like, my period has been 4 days late before. No, it's been 3 days late before. So I wasn't really getting my hopes up or anything. But by the fourth day, I'm like, okay, I ain't never went this long without a period. So let me go and get a test. So I went to Walmart. I got a test. I went straight to the bathroom because I just couldn't wait to find out. And that's when I found out that it was positive. And I was like, I can't even describe how I was feeling, you guys. Like, it was the best feeling in the world to have gone 9 years. Well, at the time, it was 8 years of infertility. And to finally see a positive pregnancy test, like after years of dreaming about it and wondering if it was ever going to happen. Oh man, like I can't even describe that feeling. If you know, you know. At 5 weeks and 5 days, I ended up miscarrying. So, and we don't even want to go into detail about that. It was terrible. It was one of the most traumatizing experience. Well, I thought it was the most traumatizing experience that I would have had in my life, but then I gave birth. But anyway, so that was that. I miscarried at 5 weeks, 5 days, and it was just out of nowhere. So I told my endo doctor, obviously, that I ended up miscarrying. And what was crazy was, since it had been over a year since I had that surgery, he had automatically scheduled me to go to a natural fertility doctor. And when I say natural fertility doctor, meaning this doctor doesn't do IVF, he doesn't do artificial insemination or anything like that. He looks at things like, let's find the root of the problem and try and correct the root of the problem instead of trying to, like the cause of the problem, instead of trying to make it happen. You know what I mean? So like his job wasn't to get me pregnant. It was to try and figure out what is stopping me from getting pregnant so we can fix that issue so that it'll happen naturally on its own. So that's what he was for. So his name was Dr. Young. So I miscarried in November 2020, and my first appointment with him was scheduled January 2021. And I had got scheduled in July of 2020 because, like I said, that was a whole year since I had the laparoscopic surgery and I still hadn't gotten pregnant. So my endo doctor was like, okay, I'm going to refer you to this guy. So he scheduled me in July for January of 2021, not even knowing that I was going to end up getting pregnant in November of 2020. And what's crazy is, before I miscarried, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll go ahead and cancel my appointment with the natural fertility doctor since I've gotten pregnant. And I thank the Lord that I did not cancel that appointment, because I would have had to wait so long. Because when I say this man, it is almost impossible to get into his office. And that's why he scheduled me in July for January. That was like 6-7 months wait. So I'm so glad that when I got pregnant the first time, I didn't cancel that appointment, because I would have been who knows how long I would have had to wait to get in. So since I forgot to cancel that appointment, it was scheduled for the end of January. It was January 22nd, 2021. I went to visit him, told him everything that was going on, told him about my miscarriage, and that's when I found out about the MTHFR gene, which I didn't even know was a thing. Apparently, he wanted to spare me from having multiple miscarriages, so he was like, you know what, since you've already had one, let me just go ahead and test you for this. And he was like, most women who have multiple miscarriages have this gene, and they don't find out until they've had countless miscarriages. And he was like, to spare you from that, I'm just going to go ahead and test you for it now. So I'm like, okay. So I had to go to Quest Diagnostics, I think it was, or was it LabCorp? It was LabCorp. And they drew my blood, did a whole bunch of type of different tests, testing for different things. He tested me for PCOS. Because at these appointments, he asks you a lot of personal questions. And if you want accurate answers, it's best to just be honest. Don't be embarrassed. So he asked me a bunch of questions about like any symptoms I was experiencing every month, and about like having facial hair and things like that. Like, it sounds disgusting, but if you're somebody who deals with PCOS, you know. So he asked me about that, and I was like, yeah, I actually do have some facial hair. Like, you know how, well, y'all know, if you're an OG subscriber, I talk about it all the time when I do my makeup videos. Plucking hairs, I be getting dark spots because I be plucking my facial hairs, okay? Because I'm not going to be out here with facial hair. So I plugged that, and so I told them all about that kind of stuff, and they tested my testosterone levels, and they tested me for the NTHFR gene. They tested me for a whole bunch of other things. So after all the tests came back, so he said that I had, with my levels and not my numbers, it was indicating PCOS, and I came back positive for the MTHFR gene. Apparently this is a gene you can inherit from your mother or your father. Like I said, it's a mutation, I should say. It's the MTHFR gene mutation, because everybody has a gene, but some people have the mutated gene, and I had the mutated gene. So apparently that can cause you to have so many different things. Like, if you just go to Google and type up the MTHFR gene mutation symptoms, and just look at the symptoms, and it may describe so many things that you're dealing with in your life that you probably didn't even think about. But anyways, miscarriages is one of those symptoms. So when I found out I had it, this is the things that he recommended that I do. So, and I'll have everything linked down below in the description box, because all of this stuff is just supplements. It's nothing that changes anything, but these are supplements. So first of all, if you have the MTHFR gene, your body can't process folic acid like other people. So you have to take methylfolate. So that was the first thing he told me to get on, was methylfolate. So I got on methylfolate, ordered it from Amazon. Another thing he had me to get on is omega-3 fish oil, but it was a specific kind of omega-3, and this stuff was $50 a bottle, y'all. $50 a bottle. So I had to take these 2 big gigantic fish oil pills. They were the highest dosage of omega-3 that you could get. So they were, I don't know, these pills were huge, okay? Huge. And they were $50 a bottle. So I was not very excited about that. So methylfolate, 2 omega-3 fish oil pills, and another thing he told me to get on was myo-inositol. And anybody who doesn't ovulate, or who ovulates late or early, or your periods are irregular, or you just anything like that, he recommended myo-inositol. And I forgot the dosage. I think I only had to take 1 of those a day. But he recommended that for me as well. And then just a regular prenatal vitamin. So I was on a regimen of pills. You know, and the myo-inositol is just something you take for reproductive health. It doesn't claim that it'll get you pregnant. It doesn't promise you that you'll get pregnant. It doesn't even mention it on the bottle. It doesn't say anything about take this to get pregnant or anything like that, because there isn't anything. I don't think there's anything on the market that can promise you that you'll get pregnant, or even suggest that it helps with getting pregnant. The only thing it was supposed to help with is reproductive health, making sure your female parts are working the way that they're supposed to, making sure your eggs are healthy, that you're ovulating. I remember looking at the reviews and seeing so many people say, you know, who had irregular periods, that, oh, for the first time they're finally having normal periods. For me, that wasn't a thing. My periods were regular, on time, every single month. So I never had irregular periods. I never skipped a period, except the one after my first initial period started when I was 11, but I ain't never missed a period. I ain't never skipped no periods. They come on time. Anywhere between 25 and 28 days, my period is here. So I knew I didn't have that irregular periods or anything. So I was just like, am I ovulating? I didn't know if I was ovulating or not, even though every month I have the signs of ovulation. If you're a woman, you know what those signs are. I won't go into detail. So I'm like, I gotta be ovulating. I'm having a regular period. So both of those has got to be happening. So, but anyway, I was like, you know what? Whatever he told me to take, I'm going to take. So again, methylfolate, omega-3, a regular prenatal vitamin, and myo-inositol. Those are the 4 things I started taking. I ordered the stuff on Amazon and they came like 2 days later. So I started taking them January 24th. I started taking everything and just went on about my life. And he was like, we'll do a follow-up appointment. And whenever that was, I don't even remember when the follow-up appointment was. I think it was scheduled for like 6 months. So I think it was scheduled for June of 2021. He was like, we'll follow up. We'll retest you for everything. We'll see how things are going then. So I was like, okay. And he was very confident. He was like, we're going to make sure you have your baby. And he's like, your baby's going to be on this wall. And now that I think about it, I never sent him a picture of her to put on his wall. That sucks. But anyway, so when I tell y'all, I wasn't taking this stuff for 2 months when I got another pregnancy test. And what's so crazy is, so I started taking that stuff January 24th. And on March 4th, literally the Holy Spirit told me, y'all, when I say like, it was so crazy because this time I hadn't even missed my period yet. Like my period was coming, but it wasn't late and I wasn't having any symptoms, no symptoms whatsoever. And honestly, I had stopped thinking about it. I had stopped thinking about getting pregnant. I'm like, Lord, if it's in your will, it'll happen. I'm just going to take these vitamins and I'm just going to go about my life. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the time with my husband. And, it is what it is. So that's the attitude that I had. We had a trip planned for Vegas. I was like, oh, I can't wait. And March 4th, literally, I heard, like, it was just in my spirit. I heard a voice say, go to Walmart and get a pregnancy test. And this voice was so clear. And I'm like, to the voice, why would I go to Walmart and get a pregnancy test? I ain't having no symptoms. I haven't missed a period, nothing. So I'm like, why am I hearing a voice telling me to go to Walmart? So I was literally arguing with myself in my mind. And I'm like, I'm not going to go to Walmart. Why am I going to Walmart? Why I need to get a pregnancy test? I'm not pregnant. But anyways, after a whole day of going back and forth in my mind, I'm like, you know what? To quiet this voice, which I kept hearing, go to Walmart and get a pregnancy test. I went to Walmart and I got another one of the little 88-cent pregnancy tests. And I peed in a cup, put the little drop on the pregnancy test. And when I say y'all, this line popped up that was so faint. I'll insert pictures so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But the line was so faint, but something was there. And my heart stopped, okay? Because I'm like, Lord. So this is why you told me to go get a test, because you knew that I was pregnant. So, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, well, maybe this is just an evap line, because that can happen. But this line was there. So I immediately called my sister, told her, I'm like, go to your Google Photos. I sent you a picture. And after time, the line got darker, like over an hour later. Like I went out, I took the test and went into my living room where there was a bunch of sun shining in, and I looked at it again in the natural light, and you could really see it then. So I'm like, yeah, this is definitely positive. But I'm like, but I also heard that you can't trust the test after a certain amount of time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy another one in 2 days. So I took a test day 27, day 29, day 31. And each day, every time I took it, the line got darker. So the moment I took that test and I saw that faint line, I called my natural fertility doctor, Dr. Young, and he immediately put in an order for progesterone for me because obviously, you know, like, since I miscarried before, low progesterone levels can be a cause of that. So immediately he put me on progesterone inserts. And yes, I said inserts. So like you had to stuff this stuff inside, I know, Anyway, they're little egg shaped. They're like this big. So they're kind of big. And it comes with a little insert applicator. Actually, it didn't come with an applicator. I actually had bought some because I was like, in no way I'm just pushing this inside. There's no way. So I went ahead and bought some applicators to make it easier for me. I had my husband help me put in the first 3. Because at the very first moment I bought it, I didn't have an applicator. And I'm thinking, why would they sell this stuff without the applicator? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so after the first day I did not have an applicator, but I went and bought some because I'm like, I refuse to have him doing this every night. So they're little they look like little eggs, little small eggs. And you just put them inside and they do whatever they do. They administer progesterone. And I had to do that every night. And then every 2 days I had to go get my blood drawn to make sure my levels were doubling or tripling or however they're supposed to do. And they were, and my progesterone levels were increasing. So, and when I tell y'all, the first like 2-3 months of my pregnancy was so much anxiety of wondering if it was going to happen again. Especially when I hit 5 weeks, 5 days, my anxiety that day. Well, I'm not even gonna say my anxiety because I don't claim anxiety. I was experiencing anxiety to the fullest that day because I was just so nervous. But that was pretty much how it happened, you guys. Like literally, those supplements, I don't even know if they helped or not, but like I said, I wasn't even taking them both a full 2 months before I ended up getting pregnant. So that's why I'm wondering if it was the supplements at all, because, you know, obviously with that kind of stuff, you got to be taking it a minute for your body to get regulated for those things to happen. I don't know, but it was in God's will for it to happen. So it happened. So a lot of people ask me, you know, like, how do you get through it and all that kind of stuff. And my advice to anybody that's trying and it's taking a long time, for me, I got married when I was 19. So when we started trying in 2012, we was only 22. So I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to live my life and I'm going to enjoy my life. And when it happens, it happens. Because we were young at the time and we got to do a lot of things because we didn't have kids so early. So it just wasn't the time is how I felt. And then over time, that's when I learned I had endo and I got the surgery. So like everything just kind of like fell in place as far as the timeline of things happening. So my daughter is here. She is amazing. And I just feel like if you're trying and it hasn't happened, there's nothing wrong with going to a fertility doctor. But in my opinion, I would recommend a natural fertility specialist. If you have one in your area, I would go to Google, do some research, because these fertility clinics, they're all about money. Okay. They will tell you it's unexplained, which is what they told me. And then they'll recommend artificial insemination and IVF. And if you know anything about IVF, it's literally $10,000 per try. So, and it's not even a guarantee. So I told myself, I'm not going into debt to have a baby. If it doesn't happen naturally, then it just wasn't in God's will. That was my thing. So if you do IVF or anything like that, there's nothing wrong with it. I just knew that I did not want to spend $10,000 a pop trying to have a baby because I didn't want to go in debt trying to have a baby. And now I have this baby and I'm in debt. So that's what I told myself. If it doesn't happen naturally, it just wasn't meant to be, and I'm just going to enjoy my nieces and nephews. That's what I said. So that was my story. That's how I conceived naturally after 9 years of infertility and 1 loss. So if you're trying, don't give up hope. Don't force it to happen. Like, don't like stress yourselves out trying to let it happen. Like, don't be buying pregnancy tests every month, wasting money. That's my advice. Wait till if you miss your period or something and then go buy one. Try not to think about it. Just enjoy your husband or your wife. Just enjoy the experience and just try not to stress yourself out because that only makes it worse. And if you're somebody who's trying to race like the biological clock, I don't know. That wasn't my experience. So I'm not going to give you advice because I don't want to tell you not to do certain things when your situation is different from mine. So I'm going to end this video because I've already been talking for 25 minutes, but this was my story. So again, I will leave everything linked down below that my doctor recommended me. You can go to Amazon and read the things for yourself and decide whether or not you want to purchase. I am not a doctor. I'm not a fertility doctor. So I'm not saying that if you get this, you're going to get pregnant for sure. Like, you have to decide what's best for you, and only you know your body and your symptoms and what you're experiencing. So you can read the things and figure out if that's going to help you or not. Personally, I believe if you're somebody who has irregular periods, or if you know you have PCOS, I truly believe, in my opinion, that myo-inositol will help you tremendously. And just read the reviews. Like, the reviews will tell you. So you can make a decision from there. And I truly believe that you'll be coming back to my video saying, oh my God, thank you. Because the fertility clinics, they don't mention that. They don't mention that. So anyways, if you guys like this video, I hope you guys thumbs up and subscribe. And feel free to inbox me on Instagram. I've been hearing from a lot of you guys from my videos. So excuse me, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to send a message, because it makes me happy to see that there are other people who are experiencing having a baby and for the first time. So let me know. Like, I would love to hear your story. And follow me on my Instagram and on TikTok, because I am building a following there. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day.